Hi everyone, welcome to episode 6 of Horrible Histories Club. Last week we looked at the slimy stewards. This week we're going to be looking at the groovy Greeks. Right, so from the Mad Mycenaeans to the groovy Golden Age, the true story of ancient Greece. The first gang to rule Greece was the mighty Mycenaeans. Their hobby? Fighting, usually against each other. Sometimes, though, they got together to attack other cities, like Troy in Asia Minor. Later, poets told the stories of battles against Troy, adding some extra stuff like gods, heroes, and the wooden horses they went along. But the Mycenaean civilization crumbled, and a dark age settled on Greece. Even the art of writing was lost. But then, around 800 BC, the Greeks got civilized again. Writing and art were rediscovered, and new cities were built. The cities were all Greek, but they weren't united. In fact, they spent a lot of time fighting each other. But it was two cities in particular who would control Greece's destiny. Athens was tops when it came to stuff like art and smart thinking, and they even invented comedy. Sparta was a country whose only interest was war. Every male Spartan was a fierce fighter. The Athenians also invented democracy, a fancy word for government that people get to vote for. But in the east, trouble was brewing. The mighty Persian Empire was growing and wanted to conquer the Greek cities. The Persian king Darius demanded that the Greek cities surrender to him and send him earth and water as gifts. Some Greek cities agreed, but Athens, Sparta, and some of the other cities refused. The Spartans even threw the Persian messenger into a well and told him, "Now you can get as much earth and water as you want." The Persians attacked Greece, but got beaten by the Athenians at the Battle of Marathon. In 480 BC, Darius' son Xerxes came back for a rematch. He invaded Greece, beat the Spartans at Thermopylae, and burned Athens, but the Greeks banded together and got their own back by sinking Xerxes' ships at the Battle of Salamis. After the war, the Greeks were very proud of themselves, and the golden age of the Greek Empire began. In Athens, Pericles became the leader. He got many other Greek cities to join a league led by Athens. The other cities had to pay a tax, which Pericles used to build fancy new buildings in Athens. The Athenians grew rich and powerful, and they created all kinds of plays, art, and new ideas. One of the most famous Athenians was Socrates, who was the wisest man who ever lived. He was so smart that the Athenians got sick of him and forced him to drink poison. It wasn't long until the other Greek cities got sick of the arrogant Athenians. The Spartans declared war on Athens and the Peloponnesian War started. In the end, the Spartans won, but the reality is everyone lost. Athens was in ruins and the golden age of Greece was over. We're going to look at the beastly battle of Thermopylae. When the Persian king Xerxes invaded Greece with his huge army, he was expecting the Greeks to be a pushover. But in the narrow pass called Thermopylae, he ran into a small force of Spartans, Greece's toughest and balmiest warriors. At first, the Spartans were winning the battle. The Persians kept on attacking the Greeks and kept on getting chopped to bits. King Xerxes was hopping mad. But his fortunes changed when a sneaky Greek traitor showed the Persians a secret path through the mountains. They used this to creep up behind the Spartans. And when Spartan King Leonidas saw his saw that his men were going to be bashed from behind, he told them to leg it. But he and his bodyguard stayed put, because there was nothing a Spartan liked better than getting killed in battle. Leo and his men got surrounded, but they refused to surrender, even when the Persians pincushioned them with arrows. Some of the Persians made a big splash in the battle as they got shoved off the cliffs by the Greeks. Brave Leonidas and his bodyguards were ready to fight to the death. The Spartans really got themselves into hot water. Some of them even had a sneaky soak in Thermopylae' famous hot springs. The name for Thermopylae actually means hot gates. Some smooth Spartans passed the time by combing their hair and oiling their bodies. You've got to look your best, even when you're facing certain death. The Spartans stayed as cool as cucumbers. They spent their whole time training in tough training, so that being in battle must be a picnic in comparison. This Spartan lost his sword, so he chomps on the enemy with his teeth. This Spartan was been blinded by an eye infection, but still he fights on. I suppose that's what you call blind fury. King Xerxes is definitely not pleased with the way things are going. Can you spot the traitor revealing the secret route? Look behind you, Leonidas. The Persians are creeping up behind the Spartans using a secret path. You can see the whole battle there. Right, that's it for this week's Horrible Histories Club. Tune in next week for the final episode. Thank you.